The temperature is pushing 37 degrees Celsius as Air India Flight 171 accelerates down the runway. Inside, Vishwas Kumar Ram sits in seat 11A. His brother is right across the aisle in 11J. Moments after takeoff, smoke trails from the Boeing 787. Both engines have failed. The aircraft rapidly loses altitude and slams into a hospital compound. 241 people on board are killed. 19 more die on the ground. Yet Vishwas Kumar walks away from the shredded fuselage on his own 2 feet. When a catastrophic structural failure occurs at terminal velocity, the resulting survival appears to be a statistical impossibility. However, the path from the wreckage is dictated by a set of measurable variables. This scatterplot maps 1,400 commercial aviation accidents documented over the last 55 years. If we filter the data to focus on the deadliest crashes, we find 45 specific events where between 1 and 5 people made it out alive. These anomalies provide the blueprint for understanding how a human body survives the unsurvivable. We can deconstruct these outcomes by analyzing 3 distinct categories: structural design, external aerodynamics, and human action. Mapping Vishwas Kumar's location reveals how aircraft geometry influences survival. A structural schematic shows seat 11A positioned forward of the wing root. During impact, the buildings sheared the wings and fuel tanks away, containing the fireball well behind his seat. We can apply this seating analysis to a much larger disaster, Japan Airlines Flight 123. In 1985, a faulty repair on a rear pressure bulkhead caused an explosive decompression mid-flight, destroying the plane's control systems. The 747 slammed into a mountain ridge, killing 520 people. Despite the scale of the debris field, 4 people survived. If we look at the top-down layout of the cabin, every survivor was clustered here, in the extreme rear section. This illustrates a trade-off in aircraft engineering. The front acts as a crumple zone, sacrificing itself to absorb kinetic energy. Meanwhile, the rear section is heavily reinforced to support the massive weight and stress of the tailfin, creating a rigid protective cage. While these structural zones provide a measurable advantage during ground impacts, mid-air disintegrations require a completely different set of physical variables to stay alive. In 1971, Lanza Flight 508 flew directly into a dark wall of storm clouds over the Amazon, facing extreme turbulence and continuous lightning flashes. At 3,000 meters, the aircraft broke apart. 17-year-old Juliana Kopka was ejected into the sky, falling toward the jungle while still strapped into her row of 3 seats. Her descent was governed by storm physics. Upward-flowing air currents pushed against her downward trajectory, fighting gravity. Furthermore, the tumbling seat row spun on a horizontal axis, called auto-rotation, creating aerodynamic drag that further reduced her terminal velocity. When she finally reached the ground, the dense rainforest canopy served as a natural safety net. The layers of branches and vines cushioned the final impact, allowing her to survive and eventually walk out of the jungle. Juliana's survival required an alignment of rare aerodynamic variables that overrode the standard rules of gravity. Even when structural integrity is high, the final outcome often depends on the human element. In 2006, a Comb Air regional jet attempted taking off from a runway that was too short. The plane struck ground at a shallow angle before the debris field was scorched by fire. The first officer, James Polinke, was the only person to make it out alive. His survival, despite the crew's elite training and the cockpit's forward position, shows how the exact angle of impact bypasses structural protections. These cases show that in the most extreme crashes, life or death remains a chaotic roll of the dice. No single seat or physical factor can guarantee an escape when the variables become this unpredictable. NTSB investigators treat these rare anomalies as vital data points for the entire industry. By studying the wreckage of the most extreme accidents, they identify the absolute limits of current aircraft design. This data feeds into a rigorous engineering cycle. Lessons learned from structural shear points and fuel line ruptures lead to high-pressure stress tests and mandatory design updates for every commercial jet in service. This commitment to incremental improvement has made commercial flight remarkably safe. According to MIT research, a passenger would have to fly every single day for 55,000 years to be involved in a fatal accident. Investigating the worst-case exceptions has helped create a robust safety standard for the more common incidents. Today, thanks to decades of studying wreckage and refining design, More than 95% of all passengers involved in aviation accidents survive. This safety system is most effective when passengers understand their own role within it. You can take specific, evidence-based actions to maximize your odds. The 5-row rule is a standard safety recommendation based on evacuation data. Booking a seat within 5 rows of any exit ensures you can reach safety even in a cabin filled with thick smoke. Clothing choices also matter. Natural fibers like cotton or wool provide protection against heat, while synthetic fabrics like polyester can melt onto the skin. During an actual evacuation, ignoring your hand luggage can be the difference between getting out or becoming trapped behind someone else's suitcase. Finally, the brace position is a calculated engineering solution for the human body. This posture locks your limbs in place and uses your seat as a shield, deflecting impact energy away from your head and spinal cord. Surviving a disaster at 30,000 feet is the result of a meticulously engineered system. By understanding the variables that save lives in the worst accidents, you can better navigate the rare event of an emergency.